So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream. This is part 2 because I forgot to record part 3. So this is part 3-ish. So what we did earlier is drew a rough outline and fairly detailed and measured of the books, and then just put a layer, which is still a bit tacky because of course it's stand oil, although it's water mixable. Just put a little bit of an ivory colour where the pages are, and a little bit of colour where the books are going to have colour, just to give me a bit of definition, because sometimes I work on the wrong book. It has been known. So I thought I'd better just kind of give myself a little bit of, and I think Alfie moved the easel as well. So I thought it would just give perhaps a little bit more. Now it needs a bit more oomph, shall we say. So this is going to be kind of making sure we've got maybe lines in here and we know that this is books, and getting this detail in next. And then the highlights and shadows will probably be next week, and the fine detail, but I want to get some more detail in here so we know which book is which and which is what's happening. So I've actually come across this small little brush, so I think I might actually use it. I've been using it for my acrylics. Excuse me. Have you got any questions? I mean, I've just got bright red in it. Let me see if I can get rid of this bright red. This is what gouache does. Even though I've washed it 3 times, it's still bringing out, because I was using it as a mixing brush, it's still bringing out red paint. So you could use this 3 months down the line and you will be doing something quite fine. I'm actually going to be using it for oil, so it's not going to make it much difference. It's a Pro Art crafter one, but it's round and it's got a bit of a point on it, so it's going to do for me at the moment. Don't think I'm going to be using any of the other brushes I used. I used bigger brushes earlier, so now we're getting a bit finer detail. Don't think I've used that one. And the beauty of these water mixable artisan paints is you can dip your brushes in water, so that's always good. You need to wash them with soap and water when you've finished, but you can keep them in water to start with. Anybody got any questions? I've got the perfect thing for misbehaving. Here we are. This is a misbehaving. So I shall have to get this out, shall I? Misbehaving. So this is a live stream recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm playing with my Winsor Newton Artisan Water Mix. Oh gosh, can't see that. Water Mixable stand oil. I'm using my fast dry medium, and I'm using about 10 colours. I've got a white. If I cut the camera down here, I'm actually using an old easel as well. So I've got a really cheap canvas, but it's doing quite well. It's got some nice marks on it, so quite impressed with it, even though it was a cheap and cheerful one. But I did give it a couple of coats of gesso on top, and that always makes a difference. So I've got a zinc white for mixing. I've got permanent white, lemon yellow, cadmium red, cadmium yellow's over there because I made a boo-boo, alizarin crimson, French ultramarine, cerulean blue, and I've got yellow ochre, and here is raw umber, and raw umber is what I've put the base coat down. Then I've got some fast drying medium which is somewhere. So I couldn't get the lid off either of those, so I had to open the big one. So it's Artisan. Oops, Artisan is the name, and it's what Winsor Newton Artisan Water Mixable Oil. So in this state, they look like oil paints. They act like oil paints. They do everything oil paints do. The stand oil does exactly what stand oil does. Traditional. There is a thinner that works with like English terps, but I can't find it. I've put it somewhere. There's a linseed oil water mixable, which acts exactly like linseed oil would if it was traditional oils, and then the fast dry medium in this one, and that is the same as, I think it's called Liqueen, something like that, and it's a fast dry medium that you use for oil paints. And when you touch these, they are exact same consistency as oil paints, but they have some kind of chemical added to them, so that makes them mixable with water. So I have a stay wet palette underneath, which is kitchen roll, 2 layers of kitchen roll, and I've just layered, and they're a bit slippy. I've just put a dollop of stand oil on each one just to keep them a bit kind of going. So I've made a bit of a pig's ear of here, and I've gone over this, but it doesn't matter. This is a pretend one. Now this won't last me till next week. Next week, or if it does, I'll get rid of this, keep the bottom and put a new layer on, because obviously I'm going to go over this brown again, and there's a lot of the dry mixing oil up this side. It's drying up already, look. This is the pure, because I spilt it. So we've got all that going on. I've tried a few little colours just to give me a bit of an idea, and it's still wet, but I can play with that. But the paints definitely will last me, because I'm going to put them in. I'm going to put the top upside down on this, and it is a stay wet palette, so it should last a few days, if not a week. What's been happening, May, while I've been away? Oh, sorry guys, I missed that. Is everybody okay? Oh, what size brush? At the moment, it's the number 6 Pro Art. Let me have a look. That's a cheap children's set, so it's a bit big. Let me have a look for something that's more tangible. They don't give sizes on this one. This one is a number 4 Royal Soft Grip SG252, number 4. So it's a bit fatter than that, but I've got to a finer detail now. I think this one is a 2. I think the 2 is probably the same, a 2 and a 4, because we've used the bigger brushes to get the detail. Now I want to kind of get into here, so I need a smaller brush, and I use this for the gouache for mixing. So I thought, well, if it's good enough for mixing, it's now going to be good enough to go on here. You don't want any nice brushes, really, not at this stage. So what I was going to do, I'll start at the top, and what I need to do is get comfortable. And I've got a little bit of a green going on here, but then there's cream under there, so I do have a bit of cream on here. I think I might actually take that off, because it's dried. Once it dries, it goes like, not toffee, but it goes a bit kind of sticky gooey. So what I've got up here, and I can actually put that in my water, but I've got in my kitchen, sorry about the rattle, in my kitchen I had a greaseproof paper, and I had a baking parchment, and they're both kind of shiny on one side and kind of dull on the other, and in England we used to call that greaseproof paper. So what I'm going to do is, it might be messy and it might not be the perfect idea, but here we go. This is the other side of the stay wet paper, so I'm going to pull that under there and just slide it under just for a moment. So I would do this after painting, but I don't want to make a mess now. So what, this is still wet, and I wouldn't really bother about it because I'm going to probably mix the colours in the same place. All I'm going to do is, I'm sorry about the noise, I'm just going to cut. And don't ever buy the palettes, and I've actually got some because they were reduced, but don't ever, and it's still damp, is that still quite wet? Don't ever buy, I don't think it matters which side you put it down. Don't ever buy palette liners because they're so expensive, and if you, all you have to do is to cut a shape around your palette, and it's all it is greaseproof paper. But if you put anything on this, it feels cool. It feels cool. If you put anything on here, it's probably for acrylics. Because if you put acrylics on anything plasticky, they just dry out. If you put them on here, you've got them for a couple of days, if not a week. So that's always good to know. But I actually do it with my oils because they are water-based. So I'm going to take my little miniature palette knife, which I got. And actually I don't have to do much because they are so soft. And I've covered them in this stand oil so that they are going to stay soft. And a little tiny bit of white's not going to hurt, but what I can do is I can actually pop that in its right order now. So that's quite good. And in fact, I might, no, I'm going to put that there. So then, because this is what I call, this is my favourite palette order. Now I could have done this, but they're all soft. You see how glistening they are, so they're not going to dry out. These are water mixable oils, and I would do this with oil paints as well. Because if you sit there and leave your oil paint, I'm going to put that there because I'm a tight Yorkshire lass. If you do this with your ordinary oils and let them just sit, they'll dry. But if you put a little dribble, I really don't want to do it that one. If you put a little dribble of stand oil or linseed oil or whatever oil you've got, not the fast dry medium, but if you put anything else on there, what will happen is it'll keep them all soft and gooey for a lot longer. Whoopsie, come on, you know you want to. Oh no, right, so I'm going to put that exactly in the right place and not waste any because it's all good stuff. The only bit I didn't want was this stand oil that I spilt, and it's fast drying. Sorry, I tell a lie. It's fast dry medium, and if you can see what it's doing, it's fast drying, so it's making it into a sticky gooey mess, and it's difficult to get that back. So I don't like to do it, but I'm going to say that that's the end of that, and that's given me exactly the same palette. And it's called a light to dark, so you probably have black here, but I don't use black. So we've got the zinc white is the mixable one, so that's to make everything a lighter shade. The permanent white is the more expensive one normally, and it's for highlights. I've got lemon yellow, cadmium red, so if you put those two together you get the best orange. We've got Elysian crimson, which is a pinky warm red with a purpley warm blue. Mix those together you get the best purple, and then if that went round to greens and yellows, that's the best yellow and that's the best blue to make the brightest green. And then of course I've got yellow ochre there. Did that make sense? Hopefully that made sense. And again, the wonderful thing about this is soap and water, and even a baby wipe. You know, you couldn't do that with oils. You'd have to have lots of oily rags, which is a pest, and lots of kitchen roll, which is and it is a bit sticky. It feels like linseed oil. It feels like this particular bit here is oily, and it's just the same. If you get it on your fingers, it's like oil paint, but it will wash off with soap and water, and you can use it in the room with a baby. And that's what I did with my daughter, who's 20 odd. That's what I did. So I'm going to put that away. Actually, Nigel, darling, can I ask a favour? Amy, darling, can I ask a favour? You just screw that up and pop it in the bin for me and wash it out with soap and water. You just pop that in there, put it in the bin, and then just wipe it, clean it with soapy water and pass it back. Thank you, darling. I do have a bit of yellow on there, but that's come from somewhere else. I think this bottom corner. So what I can do is, if I'm really careful, I can lift that. To be a bit careful because that brown is on the move. Right. So we're back now. So what we can do is, I like that little palette. I bought this one because they were reduced, and I thought that would be perfect for mixing a small amount, because normally I'm a real untidy girl. Anybody got any questions? If you've got any questions, pop them in caps. So this is a live stream, live peoples, recorded for Ustream.tv, and in theory it should be part 3, but in actual fact it's part 2 because some Doylem forgot to press record. So what I'm going to do is, it's a little bit tacky. This bit's dried, and this bit's dried. Oh, that was not nice. That's not sharp. Never mind. So the fast drying medium is really good because it would take probably about 4 days, maybe a week for this to dry if it was oil. So it's doing quite well. So I want this cream colour under here. Thank you, darling. You see, look, all nice and clean, and it's not a mark on it. So that's good. Whoopsie. So I want to have I've lost this nice bit. I had a really nice bit up there and I've lost it. So I need, and the lights, the sun is actually coming around tea time. I get that little bit of sun. So the light's changing now. And there's a tiny bit there which I really like. So again, you could possibly just see that bit. So I've lost that, and I did measure everything. So now is the time to go back. So I used a stick, and you've got to have your arm outstretched, and you can't have it this way, and you can't have it kind of that way. You've got to have it like a plumb line. That's what I'm trying to say. So think of a plumb line, and that's how it wants to sit. But that's nothing to do with the fact that you can't do that with it. So you keep it straight, and you move it, and you use the end. It's normally your thumb, but my thumb's hurt, so I use my finger. Now that probably will look silly to your angle. This is my angle, and that means that I can test this angle and the length. I can test the length and make sure, and it's too long. So I had this little brush, so I've got my pot back. So what I try to do, oopsie, I don't know what I've got on there. It's a cream one, is that one? You just need to play with that one again. So again, I'm just going to go around, because when I went around with the back, I kind of so I'm measuring the end of there and the end of here. So again, for you it might be slightly different, but that's what I'm doing. And then I can test to see if that's too long. So it's too long. So what's happening is either this is too far across. So it goes to there and it goes right across. So it should be here. So when I measure that, it's about right. So sometimes with playing about you lose things. So I want some fast drying medium and some stand oil, and I normally do half and half. and then I want a bit of colour with that, so I want a green, so I'm actually going to have, let's put a bit of that in and see what green we get. So I've actually put the yellow cadmium yellow and the French ultramarine, and I've got a very dull green, because remember what we said about greens. It's not the right green, because what you can do is this. And I do have, which I will use next week for matching colours, and I'll show you how to use it. And basically you can, you can do that, but it's a way of actually looking through, so you can completely match that colour up because you have a white background. And it's very clever, and I've forgotten what it's called, and my friend made it for me. And just looking at that colour of that green, it's not particularly an olive green, so sometimes you can make an olive green but then put a little bit of a different blue in there. So I'm messing about making this colour. And it's the consistency of double cream, because I'm a bit of a boring girl. This is what I do. Touch of that blue in there, and it dulls the green down. And I actually like that. It's not probably the blue that I wanted, but and you've got to really mix it, and that's why I wear a palette knife for oils and acrylics is fab, because you're only going to wreck your brushes and you're never going to get a lovely soft buttery mix than you can with a palette knife. And this one was £2.50, and it's small enough to use on the smallest of palettes. Now that's gone greeny blue, but actually it's not far away. I didn't want to mix it exactly, but so by playing with the blues, and I've put a hole in my paper because I'm a real klutz, but here we go. It's probably gone past where it should be, so I'm going to stop because I'm not really want to mess about. Now I did want a bit more, did want a dollop of water in there, just one dollop of water. So if this was oil paints, it would be a dollop of linseed oil. Oh, bye May, thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful afternoon. So I've just washed the brush out in water and it's fine. That's the beauty of water mixable oils. And that's now the consistency of single cream. So I normally do double cream, but just because I need to start putting a bit of detail in here now. And I'm just looking for a little this is a little brush that I used to use. This is a real diddy one, this one, isn't it? This one doesn't actually say what it is because I've had it for so long. It's a little flat one, so I can't tell you. I think I've got that one. This is Artist Extra Fine. Oh, look at that one. Now that's got the cat's tail. Sorry, the cat's tongue. So one's flat, one's got a cut. So if you wanted to go across, but if you were filling in, that would be quite nice. So I might have a look at those. Flat ones are normally quite good, so I'm just going to have a little play with this one. It's a bit stiff, but get it with some oil and paint on it. Now that might not be thick enough. So I need a reference point now, and I think that's not far away. So from here, it needs to be straight up there. So it is probably here. So it wants to be across, and then it wants to swoop down. So I do need that actually thicker. So I do need that thicker because underneath is thinner and it's not dried. I'm just going to put that over there, and I'm going to put a bit of that over there. So I'm going to be playing with the greens anyway. So I need, that's made it greeny, which it actually is probably. Don't forget a dollop of stand oil, and that's a small dollop, and a dollop of the water mixable. And then you're going to have kind of a buttery kind of, you don't want it too thin, but we do want, it's not easy getting that, especially when it would be better if it was dry, but of course my paint isn't dry now. It's not going to, it might not do this because it wants really to be dry. It's not 100% happy. Now that was the wrong yellow, because if you put cadmium yellow in a green, it'll go olive. So mix my greens over there. So I need, there's got to be a bit of something there, and it comes down, and then according to that it goes to there. So I've lost all my markings, so I want to keep that there because it's about, it's about, is it in the right place? Let me have a look. Oopsie. So that's the one I want to keep. So that's that one, which is, it only sticks out that much. That one might be wrong then, so just let me have a look at that one. And that's all it is now. It's measuring back to make sure that you get everything. Yeah, so that's about there now. So we'll get that green, and although there is a page that goes over the top, that goes in later, this is what we want now here, and it kind of goes down there. So this is now trying to get this back, this drawing back. The drawing wasn't so bad, but we've lost it a little bit. So this is all about getting that drawing back, and it's about angles and measuring. So, and the other thing that I did, which I shouldn't have done, is I moved the books. So I knew these would be a bit strange. I've moved the books, so I might have to start from here because I moved that top book. So that one's okay. So if I measure everything from this book, these two books are now wrong because I moved it because I didn't like it. So that's not always, oh thanks Melody, thanks for stopping by. So it's not always a good idea to move the things when you start drawing. So now I need to readjust this here because it's in the wrong place. And what it is it's I don't have a reference, but it's definitely past this one, which it isn't now because, as I say, I moved it. So what I need to do is measure that one from there to there, which is there. So again, it's kind of really gone a long way away. So I'm just going to actually change colour and mix a little bit of this brown so that I can just readjust that. So this one now goes like this. And that now would be at a different angle then. So it's now at that angle. So it's nearly in the same place. You normally do it with your thumb, but as I said, my thumbs are a bit icky. So I would say that's halfway to there. That's okay, I can live with that. And then it's that length. So it's the right length. It is the right length. I just have to bring that down a bit. So this is all now about measuring and getting this one back. So from here it goes straight up, so it is about right. It is about right, but we don't want about, we need exact. So as I said, that goes up, and then we've got kind of, that goes over there, but we need to just make sure that this is right first. I would think it didn't really matter, but I suppose when you're painting so much detail, it will do if it's not right. I've got the wrong angle on that one, you see, so if I do that, it comes to here, and that's actually foreshortened more, and that's why that was right. So it is over there a bit more, so that means that that should be there, which it is. And then the gap between those two, and I am a bit close actually, but those two is about right, so it goes to there. You've got to get this bit right, and it's such a pest, but if you don't get this bit right, remember what I said about and that can be a bit, that's actually now shorter because we can see under there a lot more than we could before. Because I moved it, and again I don't know if that's the right depth. Yeah, it's the right depth, but only if I take it to there and there to curl it up, and then that one comes round that way. So I think that's okay now. I think that's okay. Just want to check. So that one's okay now. I want to check this one. This one is from that one to that one. See, I've got that a lot shorter, so if we have it there, it puts it there, which is about in the right place. Oh, sorry, there. See, that's wrong. So once something's wrong with that, I think it's the angle. So if I just turn that angle, yeah, it's the angle. So if we turn that up a bit, because I say I moved the books, it's my own fault, I moved the books. and then the bottom of that one to the top of that one is there. So if you ever move things, it gets a bit complicated. So don't move them, don't move them. So the full length of that one is that. So it's too long. So if it wants to be there, then. So I'm doing something wrong. What's that? It's that one. Maybe it's that one with a foreshortening because I moved it round. Yeah, this one. So this one now is almost as short as this one, and that got to be so. It's still a bit too long. So what's happening there then? It's this foreshortening. It's this foreshortening. So I'll measure that one. It's all measures. There will be one measure that's out, and because of that, it's going to throw everything else out. And it's my own fault. I moved the books. I moved the perspective of all of them. Oh, sorry, Alfie's gone upstairs. Alfie! Have you got Alfie? Thank you. He snuck upstairs, the bad puppy. I'm pretty sure it's this one. I'm sure it's this one that's kind of. It's been naughty. Yeah, it's this one. It should only go to there. Look, it should only go to there now. It didn't. But again, that's because you move your head. If you move your head, it's going to be out. So I want that angle. And yeah, so I said it did go in. So that wants to be up. Yeah, so it's about there. So we can put a dollop of stand oil and a dollop of fast dry medium. And we can paint this out. Because if something's wrong, it'll just get on your nerves. And it's better to do this. It's a bit like rubbing out and starting again, because if you don't, it'll just so get on your nerves. And negative space is just as important as an actual piece. So, and then what you can do if you really want to is use a fan brush and kind of get rid of that and blend it out so it's gone. And I'm not particularly happy with all this up here either, so I think I'm going to just take some of that off because that's going to get on my nerves as well. It is, oops, it is quite a sharp thing, but sometimes you can see something, but I'm right in front of it, so again, sometimes that's not perfect. That's okay. Have you got little man? So I want that really nice space. So that is supposed to be. Oh, so that one is right. That one is correct. Then it is that one, and it's a very, 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 very. Oh, lamp's in the way. It's only that length. And that's why that one comes down more. So there's always a reason, but I know why, because it was there and I moved it because I wanted to see the back of that one and I couldn't, or the back of one of them and I couldn't, so I moved it. So that's now really thrown that one off. So you need to kind of play about a bit to get it where you want it, and then um, this one is should be level with that one. Oh look, it is. So if you look at that one and that one, they're in a line. I think they maybe with you as well. Yeah, they are in a line. So that's how you can tell that actually I've got that one in the right place. This one's just a bit skew width. It wants to go over there more, and that's because of the angle of it, which is like that. Oopsie, it's there. Oops. No, this is actually kitchen roll. So where's that one in connection with that one? So that one is almost in connection with that one, so it does go there then. I'm going to put it back there because it does go back there. And this one is probably um, but this is going to be quite a lot of messing. As I say, it's my own fault. It wasn't so bad this morning, but I did have a play and I changed it all. And I think that one's a bit fatter. Again, you only have to have a one line out, and everything is pants. It doesn't take much to have. And again, you see that goes like that. It's a sharp. It does say it's supposed to be shorter. So it must be this one. So it's definitely that one there. It's this angle that's wrong. So from that corner there, it should go to there. So maybe that one that sticks out too much. So again, you can just go in there a bit and get rid of that. Because that foreshortening is very, very sharp. It's very sharp, is that? And this angle is just out. That's looking slightly better. So I can go back with my kind of green colour and I I've just got a slight sheen on that, so it's driving me insane. So the gap between that one, I know you should use your thumb, but my thumb's a bit iffy, is there. So that's where it should be. And then we can go to this side and we know that there's going to be something going on there. And then we've got that curl thing there, and then we've got the green, which is there. So that's about right now. Oopsie. And it disappears there. That's about right for that one. It's a very short foreshortening is that one. That one's going to go right over there. So that wants to be in the dark a bit, that one, doesn't it? Right, so I need a little bit of ivory. Whoops, now. So I put some ivory there. And because my palette knife isn't particularly clean, I've picked up a lot of something else. I've got some stand oil and it's always a right nice amount if you just stick the end of the palette knife in. And that one is actually a dirty grey, but it's a cold. Oh, perhaps it isn't actually. Yes, it's white, and we don't really want white on there. We want kind of almost a yellow ochre colour, because we can always lighten it and darken it. So give it a real good mix. And it's the consistency of soft butter at the moment, and I don't want butter. I want it that little bit. Little bit looser. And this is now this is like soft butter. So a damp brush has kind of brought that back to life a bit. So we want all these pages in here. So I think that one's lower down, and then that's the pages. Probably a bit too a bit too yellowy, is that? But I'll get that in. So I'm just going to try and put some kind of, and actually that would have been a smidgen darker. These are almost like glazes. This side would have been darker. On there, it's going to be darker. So now we're getting a nice coat of paint on there. It's moving about a bit because the one underneath isn't quite dry, but it will mix. If it wouldn't mix, I couldn't do it because there'd be no point. It would just slide off. And that means that this one is dark. But this side is lighter. So we've organised, sorted that one out. And I'm going to go over that because it needs and that one's lighter than that one, I think. So again, we need some more stand oil. The dollop of, and they're only about the size of a small pea. Nothing too drastic. And it's going to be that little bit lighter up there. So you don't want it on too thick. If it's thick paint, you need to kind of spread it out a bit. Yes, please, darling. So to blend that to, really soft, and then do not want any thick layers on at this stage. So we've got that nice bit there, and then that goes straight across. And then we know that that's going to go back there. And there's no lines on there, there's no pages on there, it's just solid colour, which is what I thought I would probably get done today. Oops, just got a little bit too much ivory on that one. just want to keep that one like that, just for the time being. So it shows we're just going to sit underneath that one. Oh, I like long brushes because you don't have to lean as far. You don't have to lean as far. I really shouldn't be putting this much detail on yet though. I should be just blocking in really. So I need to work really thin because like I said, you don't want fat over thin. You want fat over thin, but you want the thin layer to dry first. So the next one is this, and again it's not locking in colour now. Just see if I can get one or two. And that one kind of goes down there and it kind of comes back on itself. So the basic shape is just about there. And then, as I say, what I've done is its tonal value now. So actually it goes behind that one, but it is shorter. Yeah, it's about right. And but it's this steep angle here. So it kind of comes out and curls up. And that's not always that easy to show protruding out of there. It seems to come out more. So I'm going to measure that because it seems to come out more. And it doesn't really, so it is right up there, look. And then that just goes up there. And it goes up there to behave itself and just I might pretend there's one there. Yeah, I haven't decided. I think I want to pretend that there might be one there. I think that's what I did. So the backing would be on that side. So in theory I'm going to have to put some kind of back on this so that it's not going to look, it's going to match because they're going to know that's the spine. On there. Oh, thank you, Claudia. Thank you. Does it seem to be working a little bit better? Whoopsie. Once you start blocking in certain things, this was just the rough this morning. Oh, hubby's brought me a cup of tea. Thank you, darling. Cup of cha. Thank you, King Girl. Thank you. So these are going to want to be on a little brush because there's so many of them. There's 6. So I've only got, and again, now I've got that in, this comes here. There's very little. And there's very little under there as well. So again, I'm going to use this dark, and it's going to come out. It needs to be a different colour. So this is just temp, so I can get my act together. So under there comes out, and it just is really the little tailist bit there, and then that's going to come out here and have a tail and go immediately back. Because I think that's a better angle, and better just wash the brushes out. So this is going to give me the first one almost is to there. Which disappears. And it almost disappears under that kind of that's lighter, so lighter on that side, and then we want darker on that side. So that's number 1, that's number 2. We got 1, so this is number 2. So number 2 is going to come to here, and that's number 3. That's number 4. That's 5. And that's number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one's slightly out, that one. You okay, darling? Yes, I. So that one's shorter, so I can take that one. I want it a bit lighter actually than that. So I'm working a bit thicker now. Probably soft butter is probably the best one. I will go softer when I go, I go wetter when I do glazes, but just at this moment this is getting some colour down. I just need to get some colour in these. So the stand oil makes it flow better, and the fast dry medium is making sure that by later today or tomorrow we can work on it again. So when you're doing a big piece like I was, you can almost perpetually keep going. So this one I think goes underneath there. So that's the next pile. So thanks guys for stopping by. It was oops, I just painted my camera. It was always going to be a strange one because I've never done one before, and I wasn't sure of the angle and everything, but so that one stops kind of short there, That one goes to there. That one's another funny one up there. That's a funny one. That's a funny one. And we've got that one. Um, so that's that. What I could do is I'm going to put that in to soak. And I'm going to use this fine one because I want my red back. So I need a dollop of. I'm actually mixing with a little brush now. So I want a dollop of stand oil and again it's a dollop of. That's my water mixable fast drying agent. Sorry. So I just want some kind of a reddy colour. And again, that's probably the consistency of double cream now. So what that's going to do is going to let me get into there. Now, a mahl stick is quite nice because it means your hand is kind of steady. And my hand isn't. And again, this is a big fat line and it shouldn't be this fat. But it's just a rough idea. I just want to get some kind of. I like the fact that all these are different, but as I say, just on the off chance that somebody moves this, I've got a fairly decent reference. So again, that one comes down to that one, and then I'm not sure if it has. No, it's actually not that, it's cardboard, but it doesn't matter because it is cardboard and it means I can still put it in. And then that kind of comes round to there and goes in. But I have another light, and I'm going to do the same for the other side. So it's quite nice. You had a mahl stick. It sits on. I've got one somewhere. It sits on your machine, and you can guide your hand like this. But of course, I haven't got one with me, so I'm using my elbow. I could ask my husband to go get me it. Oh, that would be good. He knows exactly where it is. Bless him. He's doing a lot of running around. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope it's been interesting watching paint dry. Just like these interesting corners because they're all different. So this one starts short. It's the cardboard actually. It starts. Whoops, and I need that. So I should have gone down that one first. It's difficult when it's wet because you're working wet on wet, and I don't normally do that. I like it to dry, but it's fine. We'll get some colour down. Again, it doesn't matter. This is a pretend. This is just a practice. There was bound to be lots of mistakes this morning. There were bound to be lots of mistakes. So I've got a bit of card there, that angle, and then we've got that because of all this going on here, and I really like that corner, and it's not like that. I'm quite tempted to take all that paper off, so we've got some nice red bookends. Unless I just do them all like this one. I'm really tempted to have little curved bookends and not the paper, because we've got paper here and we've got paper here and here, and we've got a nice kind of scruffy bit there. I'm just debating what to do. So we've got kind of those okayed. If we have a dollop of linseed oil and a dollop of fast drying medium, and again these are especially for artisans. That one sticks out the most, so I could just measure that and make sure that actually sits there. We could get rid of that one and that one, and that's number 4, that's number 5, and actually that's perfect because it's only the top of number 5 that's not actually there. And again, this is when you start to kind of decide kind of what's happening. I like that one. That comes out a bit like that, and then that one goes in like that one, and then kind of like that one, and it does come in quite a lot until we get that bookend there. That angle. And over here I think we need that to go in there. And then that kind of comes out, and it kind of does a kind of a round thing. It has a bit of a mind of its own, that. On this side we've got in there, and then we've got this one, and this is the one that one comes as it passes. It's that one as it passes. Oh no, it's not that one, it's 2. So number 2 here passes the bottom of number 2, passes round there to go with that one because it's there, and that's the angle. So again, sometimes you just got to play about a bit with them. This one again, I think that's got that just that unusual kind of bit into it. That's just in the right place. So the next one is this one next. So I'm going to put that into cleaning, just sitting them soaking for a little while, but definitely not on top of the tummies. So what I think that's going to be red. So again, I've got this bit of red going on here. So I'm just going to do want the small brush. So thanks for stopping by, guys. I'm sorry if it's extremely boring. I hope it's not so bad. Thanks for watching on YouTube. I'm trying to keep them about an hour, but I think I've gone over an hour. So I'm just going to very quickly do this next bit, which is going to be just the tops of the books, just so I can kind of get the edges of the books. So we want edges on these books. And I exaggerate in the colour purely because And so this one, this one goes over the top of that one. And then this is quite a strong one, this one. Probably not quite as strong as that. So this one can kind of come out. So that one's almost hidden underneath that one, isn't it? Yeah, it's hidden. And then it kind of comes out. And then we want that one wants to come to there. That's there, that one. That's there. So again, we don't see the top of that one or the bottom, so that wants to go that way. And then out of here, we kind of see this one. Comes down to there, and then it kind of has a bit of a tail on it, and it goes back up because this one's a little bit thicker, this one. Oh, okay, thank you, Suzanne. And what do we do next? Oh, I've got the green one, so we're going to do this one next. So I have a bit of green, so I'm just going to go with this bit of green to see if we can just need to move that lamp just very slightly out of the way. So that angle is kind of, there you go, in your face. And you've got to look at this triangle here. Now to me it's a triangle, I think it might be a bit obscure, but it wants to go across and come out there, so it's about right. And it's going straight across. And again, what have we got referencing? That one. It's about right. And then that's a very, 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 very short. Yep, it's very short. Foreshortening. And this one is slightly different because you can see the bottom of it coming down and then coming round. So that comes down and then it comes across. And we've got kind of that thing going on here. So then we've got that kind of thing going on there. So I'm going to swap brushes and go to my kind of wider brush, and I need a dollop of stand oil and a dollop of fast grain medium in my wet brush, and then just a little bit of I just want a little bit of yellow ochre in there. Just want to give this and this is what I thought we would probably end up doing, is getting to this point where we've got a decent drawing. It's not perfect, but it's you know it's fairly accurate. That's how I'm going to explain it. definitely not perfect, but it's fairly accurate. So that means that, and we've got some shadowy, darky kind of areas. So again, we've got a little bit more information on there. So when we come back to it, we're going to put in some detail because we've got our general knowledge in there. There's the tweaking at the edges of the books and the corners and the overlapping leaves, but that's the finer detail. What we want is a tonal effect, and I've got a bit of colour in there as well, and we've got a nice effect. And I've lost that particular line there, but I know where it is, so I can get it back tomorrow or next week when we come back to this. Oopsie. Again, I've lost that one, but I know roughly where it is. The one under there disappears, and we keep forgetting that. That's a sharp bit there, and it gets kind of wiped out by this one. So we can just get that, and again there's a nice angle on that which we can get back. And again there's shadow and dark in there, and light and shade, and there's a lot going on in there as well. And this one's the same. You've got a really nice curve on there, so we don't really want to lose that. So underneath we can just kind of bring that back. And we've got that really nice curve around there, which looks okay. And then we've got that very, very tight, that one's messing, that's only thin, is that? So that one's kind of addressing, that book is there. And then the last one, which we'd made a bit of a pig's ear of earlier, or I did, because I wiped it out. We're going to put, it's kind of got this kind of definite bit on there. I reinstated it because I was going to wipe it out because it's a small book and it doesn't look balanced. But maybe that's the idea. Maybe it's life. You know, we all keep piling books up, and sometimes they stay up and sometimes they fall down. And that's a bit dark under there, so there's not much showing that. There's just that tiniest bit. Maybe that's how to draw this last book, is kind of kind of brighten that one up. This doesn't look like they finish on a and again I've just painted what I saw and not what we made up. and we made up the fact that there was going to be a thing on the end of that one. So there is a bit of a curve on that one. So let me just have a look. See if I can do something with the light. See if it's not quite as. If I turn that one off. Just maybe turn it down a slightly bit. So we've got just move that out of the way as well. Oh, it's not that one. It's not that one. It's that one. It isn't though. It's the bright sunshine, I think. So we've got our green one, and then we've got our funny faced one, and then we've got our doctor's one pulling to bits, great ants, dark ones, and then we've got some of my dad's that were covered in paper, and I've kind of thought, no, I don't want them covered in paper. I like the fact that they're like that. And then the last one is the green one, and there's the big gardening one at the bottom, so I thought I could kind of jiggle that one a bit. Oopsie. So thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me, guys, on this first live stream. I'm going to call it a day because that's quite wet. If you can see, it's glistening. Here it's dry because we haven't touched it again, so I might use that brown and give it another coat, and then just do some more with these negative spaces just to tidy them up again, and just maybe play with this one, which is down here. So thank you for watching. That's the end of part 2 of Pile of Books. Thanks for watching.